I picked up a blind woman on the street as my wife. She liked to bite my ears and secretly put her hands on my face at night, saying that she wanted to feel what I looked like. Until one day when she regained her sight, I knew that she was by Mingbing, the daughter of the Bai family, and she already had a fiancé. I knew that I was not worthy of her. Before she saw my face, I left a death certificate and booked a ticket to fly abroad. After hiding for 5 years, I dared to show up again when I heard that Bai Mingbing was about to get married. But as soon as the plane landed, the airport was surrounded by a large number of black-clad bodyguards. In a blink of an eye, I was pulled to the door of the box by my agent, but I was stiff and dared not go in, because Bai Mingbing, the daughter of the Bai family, was sitting inside. I heard someone complimenting her through the half-open door, saying, "Miss, I heard that you were missing in an accident and blind before." I guess that period must have been very hard. Bai Mingbing smiled elegantly. "It was not hard at all. Someone took care of me personally. It was easier than living now." "It should be your fiancé. That is really a love in adversity, isn't it?" Bai Mingbing interrupted his sweet voice. "He is here." I raised my head in surprise, but through the crack of the door, I saw Bai Mingbing raised his hand and pointed at this piece of land. "Buried here, I am dead." The death certificate I signed 5 years ago was confirmed by Bai Mingbing himself, and the agent beside me was also listening in the corner and whispered, "That man is also unlucky. If he hadn't died, he would have been completely successful now." I smiled and said it was impossible. The agent disagreed. "Why are you so sure?" To get the daughter to agree to take care of him personally, he must have extraordinary means. The man's seduction skills are absolutely first class. I lowered my eyes to cover the guilty feeling in my eyes. Sometimes I can't tell who seduced whom. When Bai Mingbing and I had sex for the first time, when he was measuring my body at night, he accidentally touched other parts of my body. Suddenly, even the entire neck and collarbone began to turn red. I saw that his whole body was red and stiff. I thought he was going to die, so I cried and rushed over to give him artificial respiration. He hugged me with his backhand and blocked my lips with his cherry lips. I was immersed in memories when the waiter suddenly bumped into me with a cart. I instinctively screamed. The half-closed door of the box was also knocked open. On the seat facing the door, Bai Mingbing suddenly raised his eyes and looked at me. Bai Mingbing and I looked at each other. At that moment, the blood in my body froze and I couldn't even turn around. But it was only a few seconds. Thanks to the 5 years of social beating, I have developed a fake smile. It's funny to say. Although Bai Mingbing and I have slept in the same bed for 2 years, her slender hands have touched my face and body more times than my own hands. But to her, I am just a ghost who died early, and she has never seen my face. What does it matter if she has slept with me? How can she recognize someone she has never seen? As I expected, Bai Mingbing did not recognize me. When the wine glasses clinked, his eyes were bright but cold. When they fell on me, I felt numb for no reason. Just like the first time I saw him, it was a rainy night with thunder and lightning. I lost my mother forever in the hospital and was on the way home in tears. I was tripped in the alley. Bai Mingbing leaned against the wall, soaked all over, dying and in a mess. Under the weak street lights, her cheeks were covered with scars. But that face was still delicate and beautiful, and it was breathtaking. A pair of big almond-shaped eyes were bleeding, but the eyes revealed defense and coldness. I was scared and wanted to run, but I thought of my mother who was lying on the hospital bed, so painful. If someone could save him, I would eventually hold Bai Mingbing back to the dilapidated low-rent apartment. I took out all my savings to treat him. At that time I had no knowledge and was too poor, so I couldn't tell how expensive his clothes were. I mistakenly thought that he was homeless like me. I even thought that it must be my mother's spirit in heaven who felt sorry for me and was afraid that I would be lonely, so I met him. I thought I had a family again and had concerns again. Suddenly, the agent next to me pinched the back of my hand. What was he thinking about? There was a smile on his mouth. I came back to my senses, and the smile on the corner of my mouth became stiff. Seeing my reaction, the agent suddenly said, "Yun, you are not interested in Bai Mingbing, are you? I can tell you he is famous for not being interested in men, and those who tried to hook up with her ended up in a miserable situation. It is said that her fiancé is her first love. He is a rich prince and they have a deep relationship. Don't be fascinated by him. This kind of woman is not something you can reach. You will offend her if you are not careful." Offended, but when I decided to leave Bai Mingbing, I told him viciously that I have been supporting him alone for the past 2 years, just for fun. Now there is a rich woman who likes me and wants to keep me. I don't want him anymore. Bai Mingbing's face was red at the time, and she cried hoarsely, "Fong Yuan, don't let me catch you. I will make you unbearable." I guess for this spoiled young lady, even blindness has never been so humiliating. I have offended him a long time ago. Fortunately, I am already dead. I should thank her fiancé for this. Anyway, after the toast tonight, Bai Mingbing and I will never meet again. Thinking about it, I walked casually to the garden outside the hotel, and when I looked up, I saw a slender figure standing there, with a thin lady's cigarette between her snow-white fingers. It was Bai Mingbing. She turned her head to look at me, and just as I was thinking quickly about how to respond, she suddenly shouted "Fuhua" to me. I was shocked. Fuhua, she recognized me, and I was so confused that I almost exposed myself as a werewolf. Before, a puppy suddenly rushed over from the back garden and rubbed my legs intimately. It was the small local dog I raised before. Because of my choice phobia, I have not decided on a name. Mingbing actually adopted it and named it Fuhua. What is Fuhua? A person who pretended to be dead, Fuhua. I shuddered for no reason. If he knew that I was not dead and played a trick on him, the consequences would be disastrous. Fuhua, don't make trouble. Mingbing pinched out the lady's cigarette, smiled and waved to the puppy, but the puppy hadn't seen me for too long, and was jumping around wildly at my feet. It seems that my dog likes you very much. Mingbing's eyes fell on my face, calm but deep. I pretended to be calm and even thanked the dog circling at my feet, which gave me an excuse for the nervousness that I could not hide on my face. I'm sorry, maybe I smell like meat. The soup from the steak just now splashed on me. I'll go back first, Miss Bai. But before I took a step, Mingbing suddenly spoke again, saying that being a dog is actually quite happy. I paused. What you mean is that as long as the dog is well behaved, the owner will reward it. There is nothing wrong with a good dog. When our love was deep, Mingbing would lie on me, bite my ears and act coquettishly. I am Yuan's good dog. My heart rose to my throat and I clenched my palms. I'm sorry, Miss Bai, I'm a human being and don't know much about dogs. My brother's straight man speech made the atmosphere silent for a while. I wanted to find an excuse to leave, but Mingbing asked out of the blue. If you have a good dog, will you abandon it? I won't keep a dog. Why? Because I don't have the ability to take that responsibility. I lost my mother, Mingbing, and my little dog. I will never allow myself to have a weak spot again. I still need to make a toast so as not to disturb Miss Bai. I turned around and prepared to leave, but the little dog pounced on me again. My steps were urgent, but I was afraid of stepping on it, so it stumbled forward. A pair of slender hands came from behind and hugged my waist as before. What's wrong? Am I feeling uncomfortable somewhere? My back was pressed against her soft chest, and her soft and urgent voice came to my ears. Just like the 2 years we spent together, she cared for me so much that I had the illusion that I could love her until we were old. Mingbing, why did you stay in the garden for so long? Modi, an elegant male voice sounded behind us, and I knew who the voice belonged to without turning around. Boda was Mingbing's childhood sweetheart and fiancé. The voice that shattered people's dreams was always remembered vividly. Boda was like this to me. I clearly remember the first sentence Boda said when he was standing in my low-rent apartment, wearing expensive men's leather shoes. He had slept with this garbage dump militia for 2 years. He was really patient for our future. I am obviously not a weak person, but when I looked at the majestic Boda, I couldn't even refute. For the first time, I shed tears of inferiority for my poverty, but fortunately I won't do that now, because my heart is no longer poor and miserable. I quickly pushed Mingbing away and stood firm. Boda came over from the backyard, and when he saw my face, his pupils trembled for a moment, but recovered in a few seconds. It seems that his acting skills are better than mine. Boda smiled and asked me, "Hello, are you Sister Kai? The company's newly signed singer, right? Then why did you hug Mingbing just now?" Boda looked at Mingbing and joked, "Aren't you afraid that I, your future fiancé, will be jealous?" Fiancé Mingbing's long eyelashes trembled slightly, and he repeated the 3 words he said, but his eyes were staring at me, as if there was boiling magma rolling in his eyes. I was startled by the dog just now. "Thank you, Miss Bai, for helping me. You guys are busy." I didn't change my face and left after saying that. Mingbing came over in high heels and stopped me. On the way back to the room, I tore up the invitation and threw it into the trash can, but I didn't notice that a small round word was exposed on the torn corner of the invitation. I thought the reunion with Mingbing was just an accident, so I didn't take it seriously and focused on my career until my agent told me that a big director had asked me to sing the theme song for his drama. With my current small status, this was a blessing from heaven. When I saw Mingbing at the scene, I realized that it was not a blessing at all. It was Mingbing who named me. Shoot the bull. The agent took me to greet people warmly. When I got in front of Mingbing, he knelt down and spoke first. "Hello, Mr. Fong. Long time no see," the agent said with a smile. "The daughter's surname is Chu, and her name is Chu Yuan." My heart beat faster. After I faked my death, I canceled my household registration and went out of town. I changed my name to my mother's surname, but the character Yuan was given by my mother, and I was reluctant to change it. After all, it was not an uncommon character. Mingbing's gaze fixed on me and he said casually, "Maybe I remembered it wrong. I have an old friend who also has the character Yuan, but his surname is Fong. The more I say, the more mistakes I make." I simply kept silent and smiled with social phobia. The agent thought I was not smart enough and glared at me secretly. I put it in my pocket. At noon, the staff brought a fruit salad for lunch. The one they handed to me contained mangoes. I am allergic to mangoes, and Mingbing knows it very well. But if I recommend it now, he will definitely doubt me even more. The allergic reaction is not that serious. At most, I will get a rash. Just take a chlorpheniramine tablet and it will be fine. Compared with the trouble that may come with being exposed, it is simply insignificant. I opened the packaging of the fruit salad, and in front of Mingbing, I inserted a piece of mango and was about to put it in my mouth. The next second, Mingbing actually reached out and took my fork away personally. His movements were very spoiled like a young lady, as if he was angry about something. The mango fell on the table. My agent was stunned. Mingbing even took the salad in front of me. I heard him walk and instruct his assistant. I'll eat this portion and change it for hot rice. Soon the assistant brought me 8 dishes and a soup. The price of this place in Fuyun building is at least tens of thousands. The agent was dumbfounded and asked me secretly, Yuan, you didn't secretly find a lady behind my back, did you? You got her. Sister Kai, didn't you say that she is not interested in men? But how does she look at you? It feels like she only cares about you. The whole place is so big and she can only see you. I tightened my hand holding the chopsticks. Does she only care about me? It seems that it was not ridiculous that I was deceived at the beginning. Sister Kai, such a shrewd and strong woman, was also confused. When I first picked up by Mingbing and took him home, he was also busy with serious injuries. I was so poor that every piece of clothing I wore was patched. It's not that I didn't think about sending him to a shelter, but Bai Ningbing seemed to have noticed my thoughts. When I got up to open the door, he grabbed the hem of my clothes with his wounded hands and said, No, please get me out of here. He looked straight at my original image. Although his eyes were busy, they were as dazzling and charming as the sun, and could easily make people fall in love with him. My heart softened all of a sudden. I asked him where his parents and family were, and he said he didn't know. He lowered his head, and there were still unhealed scars on his thin, oval face like a homeless puppy. I thought he must have been ruthlessly abandoned by someone, causing him to forget everything. I started working 3 jobs a day to earn money for her medical treatment. Every night when I came home from get off work, Bai Ningbing would hug me and warm my hands and feet. Ayuan, you have worked hard. When my eyes are better, I will give you the best life and the best environment, so that you don't have to work so hard anymore and enjoy a lifetime of happiness. I'm sorry, An, it's me who makes you so tired. Wait for me a little longer. I will definitely do it. His hands and feet were very warm, covering my chest, that the warmth spread throughout my body and hit my heart. When I heard him say that, my heart was soft and sweet. I didn't notice at all why he said it so confidently and easily, and the guilt and forbearance flashed in his eyes. How can I blame you? I'm a man. I'm supposed to earn money to support the family. Honey, I've thought about it. When we save enough money, we will go to the nurse to see my eyes. I heard that there is the best eye hospital there. No matter what, I will cure you and let you see the world with me. If there is a chance, we will have children. If not, then don't. Anyway, we are each other's most beloved children. Also, I will buy a house of our own in the future so that you can live more comfortably. It doesn't have to be so small, and there will be no water leaks or power outages. Whenever I said these words, Bai Ningbing would just hug me tightly, raise his face and kiss me non-stop, then lie on me and tease me so that I can only use my mouth to kiss him, and can't say anything else. Now that I think about it, it may be because Bai Ningbing doesn't want to listen to me. After all, those beautiful dreams of mine to her belong to the life of ordinary people, and she is the eldest lady who grew up in the imperial city with a silver spoon in her mouth. The affluent life in her eyes is completely different from what I see. In this small, shabby, low-rent apartment, we are lonely souls who snuggle up to each other for warmth. Walking out of this low-rent apartment, we are 2 different people with a world of difference. During the break in the recording, Ji Boda came. The first love of the wealthy prince Bai Ningbing attracted attention. Ji Boda distributed afternoon tea, and finally handed the chestnut cake he made by himself to Bai Ningbing. How come you have the leisure time today to listen to the recording of the theme song? You seem to be so absorbed in what you just listened to. Bai Ningbing did not respond with a very light tone. Because they were going to meet a very important person, everyone immediately started to make noises. Ji Boda also had a doting smile on his face. Someone boldly asked Miss Bai, is your wedding with President Ji scheduled for next month? Bai Ningbing's tone changed from light to solemn. I will be at the wedding next month. My lover confessed to me, but I didn't listen anymore and turned to the terrace to clear my head. The 8 dishes and 1 soup at noon were too filling and my head was dizzy. The carbonara was finished and the wind was about to come down when I heard a conversation coming from the side door. Receptionist, do you think that the man named Chu Yuan's voice sounds like him? It was Ji Boda who was talking, but he has been dead for 5 years. It was you who asked me to give him some money to appease him. I just gave him a little more, but he took the money and left so decisively. It doesn't necessarily mean that he loves you that much. He obviously loves money more. In fact, Ji Boda misunderstood. I was not smart enough to know that money is more important than women. There were other reasons why I took the money decisively at that time. First, because I had never seen the world and was ashamed of being humiliated by Ji Boda. Second, I had actually seen him meeting Bai Ningbing half a month before Ji Boda came to my house. The owner of the shop where I worked part-time that day had to close the shop for something, so I went home early, but saw the woman who was originally blind and had lost her memory standing in the yard, hugging a handsome man. His eyes were open. She was charming and her eyes became sharp when she glanced around. She didn't look blind at all. It was me who was blind. I was so cowardly and inferior at that time that it was laughable. When I saw this scene, my heart ached and I squatted on the corner and cried for a long time. But when I got home, I still pretended nothing had happened. I didn't even dare to ask him. I was afraid of knowing the truth. I was afraid that Bai Ningbing would just leave like that and I would be alone again. But later, Ji Boda came to my house with money and showed me all kinds of intimate photos of him and Bai Ningbing. I, an honest man, was completely furious. I cooperated with Ji Boda's plan of faking his death, took the money and disappeared. Now that I think about it, the only thing I regret is that I didn't take enough money. Nothing happened a week after the pictorial was taken. I think Bai Ningbing was probably persuaded by Ji Boda and would not test me again. This evening, I was packing my luggage to leave Beijing, and my agent sister Kai was browsing her circle of friends. I heard from a friend that the dog raised by the young lady was lost. I couldn't find it after searching for several days. The little dog was lost. When I pretended to die and left, I had no idea. I couldn't take the little dog with me, so I entrusted it to the family who sold roast chicken at the corner of the alley, thinking that it could always get some bones and meat scraps to eat in the store. The lady found someone to buy a new dog, and I guess the original dog would not be looked for. Sister Kai's words made me more anxious. It seemed that by Mingbing the scumbag would not look for it again. I took a night train in the rain and came to the former low-rent housing. Sure enough, the door was open. I hurriedly put away my umbrella and ran in. Little dog, I knew you were here. With a click, the light turned on. The little dog was not there, but the broken one was. Beside the old plastic table sat a slender figure who didn't fit in. He still had a cigarette burning in his hand. When he looked up at me, his eyes were redder than the cigarette, but Yuan was back. It was Bai Mingbing. When I saw the little dog tied to his feet, I knew I was in a trap, but I still wanted to struggle. Miss Bai, what did you call me? Bai Mingbing stared at me without blinking. The rich guy was so close to you that night. He never took the initiative to approach other people. You tore up the wedding invitation I gave you into the trash can. If you really don't know you, there's no need to do this. Attending the wedding will be good for you to accumulate connections. I asked someone to find you to record a song. As soon as you started singing, I knew it was you. And the look in your eyes when you saw the mango was hesitant, but you deliberately wanted to eat it for me. Of the 8 dishes and 1 soup, you didn't eat the coriander. Since the vest has fallen off so thoroughly, I simply won't pretend. I am Fang Yuan, so Miss Bai asked me to come. What's the matter? Bai Mingbing walked towards me in high heels, with anger all over his body. I thought he would be so angry that he would slap me a few times, but Bai Mingbing walked in front of me, stretched out his hand and put his hand on my face, stroking it lightly with his soft fingertips. It turned out that you look exactly like what I imagined. Over the years, I have copied your face in my mind thousands of times. It's very handsome. He stared at me. You are the most handsome man I have ever seen. I didn't hide and said calmly, is it fun to be the eldest lady? Bai Mingbing's hand paused. Yuan, he called in a low voice. I am the high and mighty eldest lady. Now back to the top. Power and wealth are in the palm of my hand. Now I start to recall the good old days and think back to those slum love games I played before. Do you really want to play? Okay, give me money and I will play with you. I looked at him directly. Maybe my serious expression angered Bai Mingbing. He stared at me and said with gritted teeth that you only want money. For money you can even give up your name and home, right? Not only that, I took 3 million that year and I had to fake my death and cancel my account and run away. Now think about it, at that time I'm so stupid. You're the daughter of a top wealthy family. 30 million is not too much for me to save your life. Bai Mingbing suddenly hugged me, tiptoed to block my mouth, pulled off the belt on her long skirt with one hand, and tied my hands coquettishly. Her red lips gradually moved down to my collarbone. I couldn't hide, so I simply didn't hide. Do you want to sleep? Come on, what am I afraid of? Anyway, I even slept with you when you were blind. Now you're a high-ranking daughter. If I sleep with you, you'll take off and make a fortune. Bai Mingbing was mad at me. He pushed my chest hard with both hands, trying to press me down on the 100 yuan cot. Then he thought of something and pulled my arm out again. Bai Mingbing took me to a villa. He pulled me out of the car. When entering the villa, he squatted down to change me into warm cotton slippers. The next second, he stood up and put his arms around my neck, forcing me to lower my head and kissed me forcefully. While he was biting my neck, I deliberately got angry at him for not living in the low-rent housing. Does the daughter think that place is dirty and no longer worthy of you? Bai Mingbing paused on her red lips and said, you have rhinitis. The quilt there hasn't been changed for a long time. It's gray. I was stunned for a moment, but I returned to normal in a few seconds. I am no longer the green-headed man who would cry bitterly when given a little warmth, because when the heart is no longer barren, you will find that you can give yourself the warmth. Thinking of this, I sneezed and my snot flowed uncontrollably and got on the back of Bai Mingbing's hand, but he didn't look disgusted at all. He immediately stood up and took out a tissue to wipe it for me. He took out the nasal spray from the refrigerator and made a cup of hot red date flower tea and handed it to me. It was so well prepared. It seemed that there was a man living here. I smiled insincerely. Miss Bai is so thoughtful. Will you take care of Mr. G like this? Why should I take care of him? I have nothing to do with him. It doesn't matter if we get married. You rich people are really good at playing with flowers. I won't marry him. Our so-called engagement is just something our elders said casually in childhood. The wedding invitations have been sent out. Are you telling the truth about these things, Bai Mingbing? Bai Mingbing looked up at me with a hint of nervousness in his eyes. Fang Yuan, if I say I want to marry you, it's impossible. I interrupted him. Bai Mingbing, do you think I will still marry you after we have come to this point? Bai Mingbing's red lips trembled a few times. You won't believe anything I say, right? Yes, ever since I knew you were pretending to have amnesia to deceive me, Bai Mingbing, I don't want to believe you anymore. We have been strangers for a long time. You go your way as a rich girl, and I do mine as an ordinary citizen. We will not have any intersection. I always speak to him calmly and with a smile. Bai Mingbing didn't say anything. The arrogance and domineering attitude when she kissed me just now suddenly wilted. She lowered her head, her long black hair drooped, and her beautiful and delicate eyebrows became gentle. She half knelt in front of me, holding the slender hand that I used to wipe my nose with the tissue. It was soft and white, trembling slightly, and she looked like a spoiled little puppy again. I turned a blind eye to it. After a while, Bai Mingbing spoke hoarsely. Will you come to my wedding? No, I will refuse without even thinking about it. I hope you can come to my wedding. I will give you 1 signing quota of zhongli per year. Okay, Yuan. His voice was like a pleading one. I was too lazy to think about it for a second. Promise it. Zhongla is the top record company in the entertainment industry. Such a rare spot is hard to get for a newcomer like me with no background. Why don't you want it if he gives it to you for free? It's a deal. Yuan, you must come. Bai Ningbing drove me back to the apartment. Before leaving, he emphasized that I must go to the wedding. I don't understand what quirks this young lady has. She likes her ex-boyfriend to be present at the wedding. I can't figure it out and I'm too lazy to think about it. When I returned to the apartment, I found a person I didn't want to see standing at the door. Ji Boda looked at me coldly. Mr. Fong, I didn't expect you to dare to come back. Do you think that I can't do anything to you if you seduce Mingbing to recognize you? In fact, from Bai Ningbing's performance tonight, I roughly guessed the whole story. Ji Boda cheated him, so Bai Ningbing thought I left her mercilessly just to get more money. But since we don't trust each other, we can't blame anyone. I smiled and said, Mr. Ji, do you want to ban me? You probably don't know that I recorded our conversations back then. I pretended to record them. I was so young and inexperienced back then, how could I have so many tricks? But Ji Boda was obviously fooled by me. Obviously, Bai Ningbing was his weak spot. Hey, this man is more love-brain than I was before. But the experience of these years has also told me that the more tolerant you are, the more the team members will push their luck. Ji Boda was speechless after being confronted by me. Before leaving, he might have felt that he had lost, and he couldn't help but turn back and say that Mingbing and I were going to have a wedding at the beginning of next month. I know I waved at him. He was still a virgin when he lived with me. I have trained him very well, and his service skills are first-rate. I wish you a happy wedding night. I slammed the door and felt comfortable. In fact, I had already let go of the fact that Ji Boda came to humiliate me, but he kicked the table, causing my mother's photo frame to fall and break. Now I have finally avenged myself. After signing with Zhongla, I became busy all of a sudden. If my agent hadn't reminded me, I would have almost forgotten about Bai Ningbing's wedding. On the wedding day, I attended as scheduled, but I didn't expect that I would be the male lead. The wedding invitation had to be torn off on the spot on the day and used as an entry ID card, but the bride's name on it was Bai Ningbing, and the groom's name was Fong Yuan. All the guests were extremely shocked. Ji Boda was furious and knelt down to beg Bai Ningbing, but it was of no avail. It quickly became a hot search and dominated the top 5. Fong Yuan was fake, and the domineering female president falling in love with me came into reality. Bai Ningbing went on stage in a wedding dress and told all the media what happened that year. She said it was all her fault. She didn't tell me her identity because the Bai family was in turmoil and she wanted to protect me. She said she had never promised Ji Boda and the Ji family that the wedding was organized by her. From the beginning to the end, he said that he was getting married. He never said who the groom was. He also said that he understood Ji Boda's temper and knew that he had hired someone to slander me as a male mistress. Once I became popular, I would be splashed with dirty water for the rest of my life. Even if it was clarified at that time, the damage could not be erased, so he wanted to strangle this conspiracy in the cradle. Finally, Bai Ningbing dragged her fishtail wedding dress and walked in front of me, who was stunned the whole time. He actually knelt on one knee, raised the ring and proposed to me. Of course I refused. After rejecting Bai Ningbing's proposal, I became famous for an instant. I became a role model for men on the entire internet. It turns out that I can pick up a beautiful wife on the street. This is a perfect ending. The daughter actually knelt down to propose to me. This is not true love. With her status and position, how many men have knelt down to beg her? Still, a scumbag who cheats is a scumbag. Yuan, don't be so stupid. Get angry. The daughter, I am not airy. Bai Ningbing, I took advantage of this unprecedented popularity to release my new album. I polished this album for 3 years and it received very good responses. I topped the charts of major music platforms. My career has been soaring. I won awards within a year and became famous in the streets and alleys. I have many fans and the biggest fan leader is Bai Ningbing. After the proposal failed, he started to pursue me. Bai Ningbing's pursuit of others is also vigorous. I went to receive the award, and he used more than a dozen luxury cars clear the way for me. No matter where I go to attend an event, he will show up on time. As long as it is a product endorsed by me, he will spend money to buy it and give it away for free in raffles to my fans. On my birthday, he bought the entire lighting wall of the Capitol's buildings to celebrate my birthday. I have made it clear enough, but Bai Ningbing still wants to do this and I will no longer respond. I work hard to run my own career. I dare not stop for a moment for fear that if I stop, I will not be able to move forward. I am a person who ran out from a farther starting point, so I have to run faster than others. At night, I walked out of the hotel where the event was held, and a van drove towards me and hit me straight. I couldn't dodge it, and the next second, a slender and familiar figure appeared behind me, holding me and flying forward. Bai Ningbing and I fell to the ground together, but he couldn't fall on his back. I was protected by him holding me so I didn't get bumped. The surroundings were in chaos. After the examination in the hospital, I was not injured. Bai Ningbing broke his bones and needed to stay in bed. The perpetrator has been caught. He was sent by my rival company. Bai Ningbing was forced to stay for a few days. Sister Kai, the hospital's agent, asked me to go see Bai Ningbing indirectly. I didn't respond. I lowered my head and looked at the key in my hand. This key fell out of my coat pocket when Bai Ningbing pounced on me. It was also the key to the mud house in my hometown in southern Sichuan. After my mother passed away, I didn't have money to buy a cemetery in Beijing, so I brought his ashes back to my hometown for burial. When I pretended to be dead and left, I forgot to take the key with me in a hurry. How could Bai Ningbing have this key? I bought a plane ticket and immediately flew to southern Sichuan and came to the mud house in front of the door. When I opened it, what blew in my face was not dust, but fresh air. The house was cleaned thoroughly. My mother's photo was hung in the center of the mahogany table, surrounded by offerings, all of which were fresh. I walked over and knelt on the futon. There were envelopes next to the incense burner. I picked up one of them. The time written on the bottom edge was 5 years ago, when Mingbing had just recovered his sight but kept it secret from me. My beloved husband Yuan, when you receive this letter, I have already left our home, but this is only temporary. Don't worry, we have worshipped heaven and earth in front of my mother's spirit, and we have also entered the bridal chamber. You are the only man and husband in my life Mingbing, and this will never change. First of all, I would like to solemnly introduce myself to my husband again. My surname is Bai, my given name is Mingbing, and I am the eldest daughter of the Bai family, the richest family in Beijing. The heir of the platinum group. I lied to you when we met. I had no choice. Husband, you must read the letter carefully. Give your wife a chance to explain. You met me in the alley that year. In fact, before I left the mud house in my hometown, Grandma Zhang next door stopped me. Is it on, Grandma? Long time no see. How are you? Very well. Why are you alone? Didn't you bring your wife with you? Did you give birth to a baby, a boy or a girl? Wife, I am not married. You lied to me, old woman. Your wife comes to sweep your mother's grave every year. More than 3 times a year, big and small festivals. Every time she brings a lot of things, and also shares them with our neighbors, saying that we must have taken care of you when we were young. Stunned, Mingbing comes to sweep my mother's grave every year. Oh, you found a good wife. She is beautiful, and looks like a lady from a wealthy family, but she doesn't mind dirt. She can live in your mud house. I saw her during the Chinese New Year last year, and I went to bring her some roasted sweet potatoes, but I heard her crying secretly in the room alone, calling your name, saying that she missed you so much and asked when you would come back. And the year before last, Aunt Wang at the entrance of the village told him that you were dead, and he was so angry that he kicked the broken fence at the entrance of the village with his high heels, saying that you would never die and that he would not believe it. He said he would wait until you came back. This girl is stupid and has a lot of money. After the identification was completed, I took all the letters and flew back to Beijing overnight. When I arrived at the ward in the wind and rain, Mingbing was drinking porridge. He obviously didn't expect that I would take the initiative to find him. When he saw me, he quickly got up from the bed and knocked over the bowl. The porridge spilled on him. He didn't bother to wipe it and walked towards me, his beautiful big eyes staring at me. His thin white legs accidentally bumped into the chair. The secretary whispered behind him, "Miss, slow down. Mr. Fong came here by himself. He will definitely not run away." My eyes moved to his hanging white arm and immediately scolded, "Your hand is not healed yet. Don't move around." I helped him sit down. He stared at me closely. The surprise in his eyes was about to overflow. The secretary wanted to say something, but he kicked her quietly and then she withdrew with a grin. "Why are your hands so cold?" Mingbing said gently. "I'll ask someone to send hot soup. You haven't been in the ward these 2 days. Where should you send it?" Is this a disguised way of asking where I'm going? This girl is still so overbearing. I smiled anyway. "You have planted so many spies around me. Do you still want to ask me?" Mingbing dug. She pursed her red lips and stopped talking. She acted like a spoiled little puppy again. "Ayuan, I'm back to my hometown in southern Sichuan." I took out the letter. I only read a few lines of it. "I want to hear the rest from you in person. I ask questions and you answer them. He should be straightforward. I will tell you everything you ask, including your bank card passwords. I have more than 100 cards and the passwords are all your birthday." From Mingbing's answers, I finally pieced together the whole truth of that year. When I picked up Mingbing in the alley, he had just suffered a serious car accident. The one who did it was his father's illegitimate son, his younger brother. His younger brother bought a killer from Hong Kong City with the purpose of killing him. A week before I brought Mingbing home, his memory was indeed confused and his head was sometimes clear and sometimes confused. So when I asked him about his parents and family, he couldn't tell me at all. He was raised in my house for about half a month. Mingbing finally woke up completely, but he did not tell me his identity immediately. He did not want me to be implicated. At that time, the Bai family group was competing for the throne in Kowloon. Even I, who often listened to gossip at the alley, had heard about it. When Grandpa Bai passed away, the inheritance right was given to the most beloved eldest daughter. The other illegitimate sons were dissatisfied, thinking that how could a woman inherit the family business, and they obstructed it in various ways. Father Bai openly took the mistress back to the ancestral home. Mother Bai was sidelined, and the whereabouts of the murdered Mingbing were unknown. He was afraid that the illegitimate brothers would seek revenge and would affect me, so he recuperated, forbeared, and waited for a Jedi counterattack. He lived in my house for 5 years and he finally found the opportunity. In these 5 years I wanted to tell you the truth many times, but I was afraid that you would be as frightened as I was, and I was also afraid that you would think my identity was too dangerous and would not want me. In fact, from the 3rd year on at the beginning, my trusted assistant had already found me, so I asked him to protect us secretly without alerting the enemy. Once my brothers found us, the consequences would be disastrous. I pursed my lips and thought for a moment, but I couldn't help asking him, "Then you were holding Jiboda outside my house? What was going on?" Mingbing frowned, and then reacted completely. "It turned out that you misunderstood after seeing that scene. That day, one of my brothers came to see me, and Jiboda and I acted out a play together. At that time, I also recovered my sight briefly, for about 20 minutes, and soon I couldn't see again. Moreover, the Ji family and my mother have a vested interest. Ji's father hopes that I can win. Jiboda is only responsible for passing the message." I suddenly remembered that when he was holding Jiboda, he looked around. It turned out that he was not afraid of my sudden appearance. It was a sudden and short-lived recovery of sight, coupled with the fact that there were enemies lurking in the dark. He was nervous and observing. At that time, the group needed me to preside over the meeting and turn the situation around, so I left in a hurry and did not dare to go back to find you. I wrote these letters and prepared to send them to you as soon as I returned to the group to let you know the whole truth. I asked Jibota to give you a sum of money to act, saying that I didn't want you anymore and asked you to get out, so that you would not be targeted by my brothers, and they would think you were an insignificant abandoned child. I just didn't expect that Jibota would let you go without my family's money, and even photoshopped our bed photos. I also didn't expect that you really left after taking the money. Before you left, you also said that you found a rich woman who liked you. Do you know how long I was angry? Every time I got angry to the end, I would think, I hope that the rich woman you like is not as rich as me, and that you will still come back to me when you look back. Bai Ningbing's beautiful eyes stared at me deeply, and her tone was choked with sobs and self-blame. I said this without meaning to shift all the responsibility to Jibota. Ayun, I know I was wrong. I should have explained it to you earlier. I understand that love means facing everything together, not being self-righteous and doing it for your own good. Ayun, I'm sorry, I love you. Can you give me another chance? I didn't answer Bai Ningbing's last question. The misunderstanding of that 约会全部解开后，我觉得我们各自都有错。我错在太过懦弱，没有勇气问清楚；他错在太过自负，不明白爱人的意义。相爱应该是要一起分担，无论大事小事。我们分开的这5年，怪不了任何人，是我们不懂如何相爱。1个月后，白宁冰出院，我也在微博上公布我有了喜欢的女人，我在等一个机会和她表白。白宁并没有追问我是谁，只是给我发了一条消息：他如果对你不好，告诉我找人揍他。这个小姐很有脾气，我回电给她，有个八卦告诉你，当年 you made that scene with the tacky video at the wedding, Jibota's reputation was ruined, and he went abroad the next month. I know that all contacts between the Bai family and the Ji family have been severed, and there will be no business dealings in the future. As for Jibota, if you want him to pay more, I laughed, but he was very happy. He sent me an apology text message yesterday, saying that he had a flash marriage abroad, and his wife gave birth to twin sons for him. He asked me when I would accept you, so how did you answer? Didn't I post on Weibo that I have a woman I like? How about you? Have you met a new man recently? I'm busy recently. Bai Ningbing changed the subject. Let's go to the shooting site and have breakfast. Have you prepared the meal? Sister Kai must have prepared it for you. It was you who prepared it, right? He stopped talking. I imagined him looking like a little puppy. Oh no, a bad puppy who never changes his ways. He is spoiled and cautious. I don't let him prepare these for me, but he always admits his mistakes. Then he turns around and insists on preparing them. When I ask him, he pretends to be aggrieved. How can there be such a woman who is good at playing tricks and is so good at taking care of people? By the way, Bai Ningbing, your mother came to me a few days ago. What did she say to you? Don't worry, I will go to her. She said that you are not young anymore and it is time to get married. It will be bad for your health if you don't have children. She asked me if I had any ideas. Then what about you? I have a crush on a girl. I will publicly confess my love to her at the concert next month. You will come to the concert, right? Bai Ningbing, I'm busy next month. I have to go on a business trip to the United States and may not be able to go. Bai Ningbing's voice suddenly dropped, and even her breathing disappeared. I felt like she would jump into the river to vent her anger in the next second. I tried hard to hold back my laughter. Is that so? There's nothing I can do. The heroine won't come. I can't confess my love to her. I can only like someone else. There was a bang on the other end of the receiver. It should be Bai Ningbing's phone that fell to the ground. His secretary's voice followed immediately. Miss, don't run. Your car is over there. I'll drive it. I know where Mr. Fong's activities are going. Where is the field? Your hands can't drive. You are still wearing high heels. In the 3rd year after Bai Ningbing and I got married, we had a daughter. When she was 5 years old, we took her back to our hometown in southern Sichuan. I looked up in surprise. My daughter's clear and tender voice rang among the mountains. Grandma, it's Nian Nian and Mom and Dad who came to see you. Mom said she will love Dad well, so you can rest assured over there. Grandma and Dad said you used to sing very well. I am also learning to sing now. I will sing for you now. I hugged Bai Ningbing's slender waist, looked down at my daughter who is somewhat similar to Mom, with a happy and peaceful look in my eyes, and waited until my daughter was tired of singing. I carried her on my back and held Bai Ningbing's hand. We walked slowly together. The sun rose above the horizon. I called him baby gently. Bai Ningbing tilted his head to look at me. His beautiful eyes were full of love. Do you know? I lowered my head and whispered mysteriously in his ear. I have loved you since I met you. Bai Ningbing's eyes lit up, hotter than the rising morning glow. She stood on tiptoe and pressed her red lips against mine. She spoke every word very solemnly. Husband, I love you too. I have sworn in my heart a long time ago that I only want you. If I can't wait for you, I will never marry in this life. Bai Ningbing loves Fong Yuan until death, forever and ever. The end.